Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Today we're going to be talking about another signing that Leeds might be making. Who knows, because we've not seen anything yet. Daniel Farke in his press conference today said there'll be no new players playing in the game on Friday. That doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be any players signed between me making this video on Wednesday evening and it coming out Thursday afternoon and the rest of that day and the rest of the day on Friday as well. It just means that they won't actually be playing in the squad, so they might still make some signings. Anyway, make sure you hit that big red button. But today we're going to be talking about Ilan Kebbal, who plays his football in Paris for the other Paris side, Paris FC, in Ligue 2, the second division of French football. Now, shout out to Lockie. Shout out to Lockie Leeds. If you know about my channel, you'll know about Lockie, but at Lockie Leeds, go and find him. Makes great tactical content. He mentioned in January on Joe's channel, on Just Joe Football Show, that Ilan Kebbal would be a good signing for Leeds as a number 10 to complement what we already had in our ranks at the time. Now, Ilan Kebbal is 26 years old. He is of dual nationality, Marseille and Marseille. That's not a country. France. He's French Algerian. Plays for the Algerian national team, or is going to, because I think he's only recently changed over his allegiance. Hasn't made his debut for them yet, but the positions he can play in is one of the main things that I think is good about him, because he can play in particularly any of those attacking positions. He's played most of his football as a number 10, which is what I want to sign him as. And he's also played out on that right-hand side as well as a kind of winger cutting in. A little bit like, if you'd have seen the video yesterday, a little bit like Manuel Benson likes to do, cut in from that right-hand side onto his left foot. So, yeah, he is left-footed as well. He's worth around, according to Transfermarkt, around 3 million euros. So that's like 2 million quid. It's not a massive amount, but Leeds may have to pay a little bit more than that to get him out of Paris and to tempt him to the Championship if Leeds can manage to get him on board with the project, which should be getting promoted back to the Premier League. This season, he's played one game and scored one goal, so that's not a bad return, is it? But we're going to have a little look at his kind of statistics a little bit deeper, and we're also going to have a bit of the eye test conversation like we usually do. So usual format. This time there will be a fancy chart that I've discovered. But yeah, so let's go through his kind of eye test first. What type of player is he? Well, like I said, he can play out on the right and he likes to cut inside. He's both-footed. His passing range is really, really good. He can play the ball way out to either wing with decent diagonal passes, accurate long balls, which is something that we haven't really had very much other than from our holding midfielders. So if you have the number 10 that can do that, they can obviously drive forward with it as well. Talking about driving forward, and we'll get into this with the statistics, great at dribbling with the ball, can really take a player on, really make somebody look silly as well. So you got that kind of Jorginho Rutter factor here. He's not built the same as Jorginho Rutter, though. He's a lot smaller, a lot slighter in his build, a little bit more of a kind of what you would imagine as a number 10 in his build. He does like to drop deep to pick up the ball as well, which we did see Jorginho doing a lot of. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a good thing for our counter-attacks. When last season I made a video actually talking about why our counter-attack was so good and how it kind of how it came together, and a lot of that was to do with the fact that Jorginho was the one to wait on the edge of the box, receive the clearance from the set piece, whatever it may be, and then drive Leeds up the pitch. I think Ilan Kebbal is the type of player who could do a very, very similar thing to what Jorginho does in terms of his ability to carry the ball, take players on, but also with his passing range, which I think potentially is probably a little bit better than what Jorginho Rutter has in his game. But having said that, there are a few things that may put you off slightly, and that is just in terms of, whilst you're saying, okay, well, he's a little bit more of a traditional number 10 in his build, that could also be an issue in the Championship because it is a very physical league. I don't know that much about the second division in France, but I can't imagine it's as kind of rough and tumble as what the Championship is at times. Especially when you're playing against teams like Sheffield Wednesday. They've got that massive centre-back. I can't actually remember his name, but he's huge. But especially playing games like that where you are going to have to be a little bit more physical. Otherwise, you're going to get bullied off the ball. So that's maybe a slight concern, but if he's got to the age he is, look, he's not a young player, that's the thing. He's got to the age he is, so 26, and by that time, you know who you are as a player. You know what your game is, you know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and therefore, you can be clever about it. Look at Lionel Messi, right? And obviously, I'm not equating the two, but Lionel Messi was told he was too small. He was told he would never, ever be able to play professional football. He had to literally go on growth hormones to get him up to what was considered a normal size. But he's always been small. He's always been slight. That's why they call him La Pugla, the flea. And he's always been able to use his body in those situations by having a low center of gravity, dropping his shoulder, going past people, not being stupid enough to invite bigger players in for a physical battle. So once you know kind of your own playing style and your own ability doesn't really come into play as much, you can kind of avoid those situations as much as possible. So I think somebody like Ilan Kebbal wouldn't struggle too much with that. So again, a good player, doesn't score a huge amount of goals at all, but creates a huge amount of chances. And that's essentially what we need him for, because we've got players who I think can finish it off. You've got Nonto, Joel Peru, you've got Mateo Joseph, you've got players who can score goals. What you want is somebody who can create them, because that's what we've been lacking and that's what we're going to struggle with. If we don't sign somebody to come in and replace Jorginho Rutter, and like I said at the start as well, his adaptability, allowing him to play out on the right wing as well, is something that's really good, because you might say, oh, we don't want square pegs, round holes, we don't want jack of all trades, master of none. But in the system that Daniel Farke likes to play, he does like to have rotations. So let's say that Wilfried Gnonto wants to cut inside and play the number 10 role for 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You have Ilan Kebbal drift out left or drift out right, replacing, swapping around, having those movements, which makes it a nightmare for defenders to defend against, because they then know, hold on a second, this is a new player, how am I going to defend against this guy? Is a completely different type of player. So, in summary from the eye test, very good dribbler, very good passer and chance creator, low center of gravity, able to spread the ball really well, good passing range, comes deep to get it, and tries to drag his team up the pitch. So all things that I really, really like. Now we're going to have a look at this little fancy chart now. And when we look at it, let's look first at his chance creation. Or his goal creation. Goal creating actions. He's in the 92nd percentile and the 98th percentile for shot creating actions. So basically, he's assisted somebody who scored or shot, or he's assisted the person who assisted the shot or goal. So he's very, very involved, like very involved in attacking play. When you look at the actual underlying numbers, under that 92nd and 98th percentile respectively, 6.28 shot creating actions per 90. So he's creating over 6 shots for teammates per 90 on his own. He's creating over 6 shots. That's really, really good, especially in a league like the Championship, where you want to be creating as many chances as possible, because you don't necessarily have Premier League level finishers. You want to be creating so much that you have to win the game by the sheer amount of chances you've created, and he could definitely contribute towards that. So again, that's really, really good. Assists, 90th percentile. He's up there, 0.33 assists per 90, puts him in the 90th percentile versus attacking midfielders and wingers. So, i.e., if he's creating 0.33, he's getting an assist every 3 games, or 1 in every 3, he's getting an assist. So it's really good in the Championship. That's what where my bad math is going to embarrass me now. It's probably about 15 assists, between 15 to 20 assists. So if that stacks up and that lines up how the data says it should, then he'd be a very, 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 very good fit for Leeds United. Playmaking as well is one that we don't usually look at, but let's look at it here. Progressive passes is one we like to see. So progressive passes, 96th percentile, which is actually 8.01 progressive passes per 90. So passes that go forward into the attacking third, that go more than 10 yards forward. So he's playing the ball into the strikers, and he's doing it a lot. Also passes into the penalty area as well, next to that, 97th percentile. So look, he's playing a lot of passes, and the pass types you can see, through balls, 94th percentile. He's way up there in terms of these playmaking ability. Now, that is kind of where you see his true value, if you will, because if you look at his shot creating actions, goal creating actions, his goal creation on this chart in the pink, he's obviously creating a lot of chances. But if you look at his playmaking in the blue, he's actually playing more passes into that area than is shown on the shot creating actions, goal creating actions, if you get what I mean. Like, so he could play the ball into a really good area and one of his teammates could mess it up. But it's shown by the playmaking that he is putting it into those dangerous areas so often. He's way up there in the high 90s for most of these statistics. In terms of possession now, coming on to the kind of beige colour, touches, 96th percentile. He's so involved in the play. And in the attacking third, his touches as well, 84th percentile. He's so involved in the attacking play, or in the play in general, that he's he's pulling all the strings. He's making things happen. Passes received and touches, 96th percentile and 96th percentile for both. He's so involved in that play. He really is involved. He's the one who makes things tick for Paris FC. He's the one who gets things forward. Progressive passes received is fairly low. Now, I think what this tells us is he's not the one on the end of those passes. He's not the one receiving it. And hence why his actual goal contributions in terms of actual scoring are in fact really quite low, because he's not the one to finish them off. He's a very different type of midfielder. We looked at Sem Stein the other day, the Dutch midfielder from FC Twente, which I was told off for saying wrong in the comments. But he's very different, because the Dutch central midfielder we looked at, attacking midfielder, he was the opposite of this. He was score a load of goals by making third man runs into the box. Ilan Kebbal is more, let's get on the ball, let's play passes into the attacking people, let's get them goals. And I think he would be an unbelievable signing for Leeds. And again, shout out to Lockie for identifying this back in January this year. I think I've only had a few good hits where I did a scouting report on Daiki Hashioka that ended up going to Luton Town in the end from the Belgian league. I did a scouting report on him, said he would be good for Leeds in the Championship, and then obviously Leeds were linked with him before he got his move to Luton Town. I think there was one or two others where I've got it, somebody that we then start looking at. But yeah, this guy is the real deal. He's the type of player who you go, do you know what, for the price as well that we can probably get him for. Let's see, I think his contract runs out in 2026. Oh, sorry about that noise. Oh my God. Sorry, an advert on Transfermarkt just started playing at like full volume and I absolutely jumped out of my skin. Sorry, his contract runs out in 2026. So he's got 2 years still left on his deal. So therefore we still will have to pay a decent amount of money for him, but I can't imagine it would be as much as buying somebody like Morgan Whittaker or somebody else who could play in that 10 role who's a little bit more of a known quantity in the English leagues. So for me, no-brainer. If you can get him, if you can afford to buy him, do it. Because, like I said, he just fits. He just fits the bill perfectly. And I'd love to see him come through the door at Elland Road. Thanks for watching this one. Of course, tomorrow night I will be live for Leeds United versus Sheffield Wednesday. And Wednesday on a Friday, got to remember that's confusing, but I'll be live for it, so join me, and then there'll be a match reaction, which means, of course, there won't be a video at 12 o'clock on Friday, but there will be one after the game. So thanks for watching Leeds Lately. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video, because we're uploading every day. And yeah, thanks for watching Leeds Lately. Let me know what you think.